Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video, we are taking a look at just how good the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku, and Super Saiyan God Vegeta, I said Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku, how good the Super Saiyan God boys are in Esbr. So obviously these guys are the brand new LR units. They're part of the 7th anniversary. They like currently the coolest and best, or one of the two coolest and best units in the game. So let's take a look at how well they do in Esbr. Now, Realm of the Gods is not an Esbr that's as hard as like Pure Saiyans or anything like that, but it's still pretty challenging, and it's going to be a great place to test them out on a pretty nice team for them. So we're going to see how they do. We're going to mainly see how they do without items, with items, and all that jazz. As per usual, they are at 55%. So these are if you were to just summon one unit off the banner. I personally like doing one unit off the banner the most, because I think, or 55% the most, because I think that's the most realistic unit that actually most people are going to have. Most people are going to only have one copy, if maybe one extra copy. But doing the 69% video, well, yeah, probably would get a couple clicks, but I don't think it's as useful as a 55% video. So obviously we get the lovely entrance animation. We have them here in a pretty decent spot. 4 links, not too bad. We don't have prepared for battle though, which is the only real issue that we can say overall. So yeah, in terms of this stage, obviously just a heads up, this one's not as finely tuned as things like Pure Saiyans, so there is a bit of a difference between the damage that these units do. That being said, this is still a very good test for them, because they'll face multiple types of type neutral or type disadvantage attacks. Here we've got an item active, we've got the guard active, got 154k defense. We'll talk through their passive and everything just now, but some really good damage of 4.3 million. Remember, 55%, so this is not anything too crazy in terms of dupes or anything like that. This is if you just got them right off the shelf. So 55%, they instantly pretty much eliminate the good old Devilman. And now they do a pretty sizable chunk of damage to Hercule. Remember, they do decent damage overall because of their attacks effective against all types. And while we talk about that, let's talk about them as a unit. So obviously them in their base form, as you receive them, they have activating the entrance animation. That is the lovely animation that we saw. Then they guard all attacks for 1 turn from the start of turn. They also have an additional key +1 per type key sphere obtained. They then have an additional attack and defense of 77% for 7 turns from the start of turn. They have attack and defense of 120% plus an additional key +1 per type key sphere obtained, and they have a chance of performing a critical hit plus 7% per key sphere obtained. They will also launch an additional super attack when key is 20 or more, and they have attacks effective against all types when key is 24. So, as a unit, they're pretty good for the first 7 turns, which is pretty much a whole SBR battle. If you ever have an SBR battle that goes longer than 7 turns, you're doing a very, very gimmicky strategy probably, but you're doing something pretty interesting as well, which I can respect. But for the most part, your average SBR battle will last anywhere between 3 to 6 turns. Generally, there are some slightly longer fights that may last into that 7-turn realm, but they're probably ending on that 7th turn. So, yes. In terms of their passive, obviously the first 7 turns is pretty good for them. They're actually really, really strong in both transformations. So we're going to transform them here into the blue form. You can elect which one to use. You don't have to immediately transform them. Ideally, in short form content where they're not going to be stacking, transforming them is more than fine. You will lose a little bit of initial defense, but the evasion, the crits, everything you gain are going to help you a lot more. Plus you will immediately gain access to their active skill, which does a lot of damage as well. So it is very, very important. Here we managed to get 2 nice orbs, setting us up pretty decently. Decent amount of ki. We got the 2 rainbow orbs, which is going to help them out. We'll go through their changed passive, but you can see there, no item, 253k, type neutral attack. So that's a pretty good amount, but it's also not too bad. It shows that they can tank pretty decently at 55%. Remember that they would have tanked a lot better after they fired off their super attacks, because they massively raise attack and defense on their 18 ki, and they do greatly raise attack and defense on their 12 ki. The main issue that they have is essentially, or at least in that situation, is that they don't have any damage reduction. So they have the evasion chance, but when the evasion doesn't kick in, they can still take quite a decent amount of damage. Now, in terms of passive, once they're transformed, everything changes a little bit. We've obviously talked about the super attack effects changing, to become massively raising. But the main reason why you might want to consider transforming them is in their transform state, although their overall passive drops down. So your total passive in your first form is 197%. Although in their second form technically it drops down to 177, it's actually a bit better because you have the permanent 2+ ki, you have the crit chance and the evasion chance. Your attacks effective against all types is from 16 onwards, and you launch an additional super attack when it's 20 or more ki. You also have a medium chance of crit chance and a medium chance of evading the enemy's attack. So you actually have a lot more going on for your unit than you do if you don't have that setup going on. So it is pretty good. It's a really good change overall. I think it's a lot better for them, and I think the extra evasion in that really helps them out in these shorter events where you're not gonna stack a huge amount of attack and defense. You're just going to be able to decently stack attack and defense. Fortunately here, we do actually have every link active pretty much, except for our key link. So that's the only issue with linking them with the physical blue Goku and Vegeta. But the orbs, in the way that physical Goku and Vegeta uses rainbow orbs, these guys rely mainly on type orbs for their key, generally means you end up coming out okay. But it does affect your key a little bit, and key is important. Especially in their base form, 20 ki guarantees an additional super, 24 ki guarantees attacks effective against all types. It does matter, but it just doesn't matter as much because of the fact that they can so easily generate ki. But 2 ki still helps, it helps them get there, but rather take all of the offensive links. So here we can see we obviously have guard as well. So we tank pretty well, 66k, pretty decent. We obviously got 3 supers as well, so that's pretty good. 3 supers, 66k. We had guard active. That's obviously the big perk of them kind of existing in their own little space. You can see that the units here don't hit massively hard without an item. The blue boys only took 5k on a normal attack, which is the guys here are hitting decent, and they're not hitting like at the top level that events can hit in Dokkan. So decent stuff, but yes, overall 100% could definitely have a much harder stage. I would like to try them in Pure Saiyans. I'm already trying out another unit in Pure Saiyans, so I don't really want to run only Pure Saiyans, but yes, there is of course great benefit in running them in a lot of different events. So, but they'll do well. In terms of Esbr, they have a lot of kit that helps out. I think in their base form they're fine. I think transforming them straight away, having the access to the evasion, having the access to the additional crit chances, and the access to the active skill matters a lot more. At least for me, I think it matters a lot more. Personally speaking, I just think it ends up doing a lot better. So we're going to not transform them here because you could use the active, but I wanted to see how much damage they would take from the normal attack there. So That was something I wanted to see. 40k is a decent amount of damage, by the way. It's not like an inconsequential amount of damage. Obviously, it is time disadvantage, and it's good to see. I wanted to see how much damage it would take. Time disadvantage with no guard active, obviously. So, and they took 40k, which is a decent amount, but it's actually not too bad. Considering that it's ESBR, considering that they're only 55%, 40k is really not that much damage. It could be way worse. It could be so much more. But that's going to be it, guys. We are done with taking a look at them in SBR. I think they've done a great job. I think they look great. I think their transform form is definitely the way to go. But I think you get so much utility out of them. The leader skill is great. You can run a lot of SBR with them because of the coverage of Beyond Super Saiyan. I think that is great. And yeah, overall, they're really good. But that's going to be it from me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, and bye.